On a stormy night, the electricity went out in the old house where Lisa lived, making the completely dark environment even more dangerous for visually impaired Sarah. After cautiously making her way to the basement, she stood on a chair placed in the center of the room. The chair, already damaged, cracked under her weight. A camera in the corner captured the exact moment of Sarah's accident. After a clap of thunder, the entire town lost all power. At the same time, hundreds of kilometers away, Julia, who was at work, suddenly found it difficult to breathe. She felt as if a scarf was tightening around her neck, causing discomfort. As Sarah's twin sister, Julia immediately realized that her sister had encountered an accident. On her way to the small town where her sister lived, Julia made countless phone calls, but none of them were answered, making her even more anxious. Julia recalled that she and her sister had been diagnosed with a degenerative condition from a young age, which would gradually cause them to lose their eyesight as they grew older. Julia had not yet completely lost her vision, but her sister had become completely blind last year. Despite this, Sarah had insisted on living alone in a remote small town. At dawn, Julia and Zach arrived at Sarah's house. No matter how much Julia knocked on the door, there was no response. In a panic, Julia broke the window and entered the house. Zach, who was the first to reach the basement, accidentally discovered Sarah unconscious. Worried that Julia would be overwhelmed with grief, Zach tried his best to prevent her from entering the basement. When the police arrived after receiving the report, they immediately conducted a thorough investigation of the scene. They found no signs of a break-in or struggle. The police preliminarily concluded that Sarah had locked herself in the basement, unable to bear the pain of blindness. However, Julia could not possibly agree with the police's investigation results because Sarah had already registered at the hospital and was waiting for a cornea donor to restore her vision. If Sarah had lost hope in life, she would not have been waiting here all this time. After the police took Sarah to the hospital, looking at her sister's photo made Julia feel even more grief-stricken. She also blamed herself for not taking better care of her sister. Although this house was strange, Julia insisted on staying here until the full investigation results were available. Zach also stayed with her temporarily. As night fell, the power went out again, but there wasn't a single candle in the house. While Zach went to borrow candles from a neighbor, Julia suddenly heard an eerie sound. However, when she turned around, she didn't see anything strange. She tried to escape the living room but accidentally knocked over a chair. Julia, frightened, leaned against the corner of the wall.